Testing. Hello. Perfect. Oh, boom, just like that. Got a few people. Let me hide that. You say hello to everybody. Happy Monday. We all had a good long weekend. I did. Nice and restful. Usually I start rambling about the markets as people file in. It's been really bizarre. I'll start with the NASDAQ, the Qs, big picture here. Hi, Martha. And by the way, if anybody was sent here by support, that's the real purpose of this hour, not to listen to me just ramble. So if you need help with any support on trade ideas, let me know in the chat window, and I'll do my best to demonstrate. But back to the market, it's so odd. The Qs are so strong, and S&P has been pretty strong. But then the IWM, this is the rotation we talk about. Like IWM was so strong last week when the Qs weren't. So there's just money being put to work, but it's being put to work in different cycles. And so the small cap stuff that I normally like to trade, that I'm normally in, is just under the weather today because of the Russell 2000. Whereas something like Nvidia is probably having a good day. I haven't even looked. Yeah, they've gapped up, but tech is holding up well for sure. I see Tesla coming through. Strong chart there. I have not taken any new positions today. I'm riding a few swing trades. This Rumble being one of them. I've got a good position, and I'm going to, let's bring up the pen. This is the hardest part of swing trading, which, by the way, is what I am. Swing trader. I'm looking for a couple day moves, or in some cases, I'm looking for much more bigger moves, maybe weeks. And Rumble, I'm kind of building a position, but when you do that, you get excited about, seeing days like this, but you have to accept the fact that these days are coming. And so I'm just kind of watching this area right there. Maybe one more day of selling right into that rising 10 SMA. That's going to be a nice pocket of support. And this is where the professional money, I was talking to somebody over the weekend about crypto and trying to tell them not to chase. Things will always find a way to settle back down. The retail FOMO dumb money chases new highs after 5 days of run. And the smart money, they're the ones that are like eyeballing and looking for levels of interest. And they just kind of wait for the pullback and they load up. And so what I'm getting at is here, this is an open position. I'm going to have to just resign myself to the fact that this is very possible, for the next day. And that's okay, because I'm trying to let Rum build. Rum wasn't built in a day. God. It's bad. Let's see, what else? So Andy got me into the stock. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was on Friday. I looked, here's Friday. There was no news. I was hoping that it would hold. Again, there's Friday, that first big jump up, big candle, big volume. And then it just kind of petered out on the close. And I have a good chunk, and then it gapped down. And then this is why I use this blue line. This is the 5-day moving average via 130 15-minute candles. That's all that is. And I use that as significant support resistance. And so on the gap down, I said, okay, fine, you got me, gap down, 30-cent stock. What am I doing here? There's no news, but the price and the volume's trying to tell us something. As my friend Brian Shannon says, price and volume often precede the headline. So I guess I'm just waiting for a headline. It recovered nicely, as you can see. I actually had an order to get some sold up here at 49 and got as high as 48. So I was a penny away from getting rid of 25%. What are you going to do? So I'll just keep that order in there. And maybe while I'm talking to you guys. All right. Still waiting for if anybody needs direction or question or help or assistance with something, just let me know. And I can jump right into that. Otherwise, I just start rambling again. A few of my positions, we just talked about that penny stock, which, by the way, let me go back to that. BMRA? Yeah. Called it Bam Margera. I looked around. I didn't see any news, but like I said, the price action is preceding the news, it seems. So I'm just going to let this one sit. There's something brewing there. When it was going crazy. Somebody was chasing it. And now I'm just in watch mode here. I'm going to just make sure that it kind of stays above the rising 10 SMA. And obviously that was a big test. It's a crucial test right there. So I'm in sit and patient mode. Don't start overthinking these trades. Oh, I was in game and I put a stop in earlier. And I'm so glad I did. I was making money in game on trade arounds shoot, I'm trying that again. Playing it well last week, kind of buying the dips and then fading out. And then I was holding a piece and then I tried to lean on the close on Friday and it broke down through here. This is a great example. Here's the pinch play. All right. There's a 130. This is the only two indicators I will use, and the 10 SMA, 130 SMA. So you can see what happens is it came down, the buyers defended it, but the 10 SMA was stronger. So we had a corner. Price got cornered, and here's the resolution candle. So that was on Friday, I believe. And so I stayed with it. And then today I looked at it, I let it establish the low. And I do this all the time in swing trading. I just say, stop. I will not put a stop order in on the open, but once the market's been open for half an hour and all the bots have kind of shaken the trees and got all the low-hanging fruit, I'll put a stop in midday. And I do that because I've learned about myself, and this is what's unique about trading is everybody's different. I learned about myself that if I just get huffy in the moment, just screw this thing, just get me out, and I punch out manually instead of looking at it and going, all right, I'll give it 5 more cents and stop order. It's like once I send that stop order, my mind is made up and I no longer can blame myself for either staying in or not getting out or getting out too soon. I've kind of put it in fate's hand, but I'm only willing to do that once the market's been open for 30 days. 30 days, 30 minutes. Sorry. So I'm out of game and I have no problem with that because I set my low. I said, get me out. And actually it's more like up here. I was trying to give it a chance. All right, so I'm out of game and I'm happy I am because now it's in no man's land. All right, it's in between moving averages. It's probably got a next step down here. And I will probably be a buyer down here. So I'm kind of just stepping aside like a bull matador and letting it rush by, and maybe I'll revisit it down here. What else am I in? I don't know if Patrick's here. I'm still in beat. Again, I feel like this is another one of those stories where the price action is preceding a possible headline. The volume's been great. Price is moving way above all the moving averages. It's up here in clean air as opposed to being tangled down here. So here's a case where I like the story. I like the company. I'm just kind of waiting for the market to absorb it. Rum, we talked about rum. DJT, I've been in this one. This is another one I'm going to try and hold. And I really like the way it's just kind of that little strong base. Looks like a little bird's nest there, just waiting for the moving averages to come into play again. So DJT will have a serious issue with the 200 moving average, flat 200. But this base is just really nice. I like that. And more importantly, the 50-day SMA is kind of like the translated 130 over here. They're both the same significance. If the price is below, then it's kind of under pressure. On the daily, if the price is above the 50, and if the 50 is sloping upwards, I consider the stock to be in generally good health. We'll get to that. I was waiting for somebody to ask. Do you own any, Patrick? I got the 4-hour chart. I like this 4-hour chart. And now I'm on TradingView. It's a blasphemy. I know I'm leaving trade ideas, but we don't have the crypto feed dialed in yet. So for now, TradingView on the phone and on the web browser, it does the best for me. So if we go to the daily, and by the way, if you're new here, go back and look at our YouTube library. I've been kind of pounding the table on this crypto for a while, and I've been stacking it down here at 50 cents for a couple of years. Okay. And whether it's crypto or stocks, the 10 SMA is what I'm using, just like I'm using on my trade ideas charts. And essentially, this was all about two things. It was about the election. There's the election, friendly administration to crypto, a lot of friendly things being discussed. And then also about the same time, Gary Gensler was the one who's been holding the price down with a lawsuit and an appeal. And I actually thank Gary Gensler for keeping the price suppressed, because I was able to just, as they say, stack it down here at this 50-cent level, which I hopefully will never be seen again. And then so you had this first wave run, and then consolidation. That's a textbook chart right there. You couldn't even get the 10 SMA to touch it. Second wave run. Then we get a bit more sloppy, a touch there and a touch there. But these are where you want to be buying. And this is where I was telling my friend in XRP, don't chase up here, because eventually this is going to happen again. Wait until you see this. And wherever the price and the moving average is, the 10 SMA, that's a safe place to buy in again, or to average in at a higher low, I should say. But yeah, it's been a good weekend. I've never seen price action move like this. And again, I'm in this heavy and I'm not selling. There's no exit strategy for me other than just keeping it as an asset and see how it rolls out. Oh, wow. Yeah. I think fate didn't show it to me until 70 cents. And I got in around 70 about 3 years ago. And then it ran up. And I got all excited over $1, didn't buy anywhere, and then it pulled back, and then it just hit that 50 level. And for about 2 years, I was just each month buying more, and also buying the same amount of XLM, which, if you don't know, XLM is like the little brother of XRP. XRP is the institutional bank finance vehicle. It's called a bridge currency. And hopefully it's going to be adopted. Looks like it might be. And then you've got XLM, which also works on the XRP Ripple ledger. The ledger of XRP is showing itself to be an extremely fast, efficient way to move payments. You can't move payments through Bitcoin. Bitcoin's like a big gold bar, whereas XRP is just like, I don't know what to compare it to, but it's a 2 microsecond liquidity injection to convert one asset to another. And many times that means cross-border payments from one currency to another. But you need that bridge asset as like a momentary millisecond escrow. And that's the purpose of XRP. XLM was basically like peer-to-peer, person-to-person. Hey, I owe you money. I want to buy that guitar or whatever. Pull out your ledger and I send you XLM directly to your ledger and you have it in 3 seconds. It doesn't go to the bank where they get to hold the float overnight, or Venmo. That's where they make their money, is holding your money overnight and earning the interest. So the new system is going to get rid of the banks. You're going to be the bank. And so XLM is also one that I have purchased. Doge, interestingly enough, if we look at the chart here, it's kind of a weird side story. Elon was pumping Dogecoin 2 years ago up to 49 cents. And now here we are 2 years later, he's pumping the Department of Government Efficiency. Somehow these two are going to play, and maybe the Doge ledger will wind up being a major facet of what I think his plans are, is almost like a public, what does he call it on X? Community notes. There's probably going to be like a community notes paradigm model for the Department of Government Efficiency, where people can say, hey, can you check out this so-called NGO or government, what their budget were? And in doing so, maybe the reward system comes in the form of Doge. Now, I just went way out on a limb there of some speculation, but that's my thinking. Dan showed me this one, H-bar, Hedera. I need to read up on this, but I actually bought some. As everything else, all the cryptos were exploding down here, I was going through them all, and I bought some Hedera down here. If anybody knows what Hedera, actually, let's ask ChatGPT, shall we? It's always fun. Let's see. What? Primary focus functions of H-bar is proof of stake. Okay, I recall this now. So let's say network integrity. So it's almost like, when you're on your web browser and it says, oh, these certificate has expired on the site. Do you want to continue? Well, I think this is going to be kind of like that, like the certificate of authenticity or integrity. So in any transaction, there's almost probably going to be a badge attached. And I think that's what this company does. So as you can see, ChatGPT is extremely useful. Notable uses: tokenizing assets, such as real estate. Regardless of what this thing does, it's got my attention because look at the chart. My God, it went from, I bought it at 14 cents. It's already doubled in a couple of weeks. Crazy. So yeah, Patrick, I'm feeling pretty good. It's been a long time coming. It seems like at this point, it's got a date with Destiny, meaning it's just a matter of time before XRP challenges its previous high that you saw back here. Looks like it's going to be around 350. We're at 260 right now. All right, I'm going to go back to the 4-hour view. XLM keeps threatening to break out on Doge and H-bar. Enough of that. All right, anybody have any questions? I can always look at a chart. If you're long a chart, thinking about something, it always helps if you tell me what you're doing or thinking. And ouch, just pulled a muscle in my neck. I can give you some unbiased opinions on any chart that maybe you're looking at. My scans down here for anybody that's new, these are just our new tree maps. And these are just derivatives of a top list, just like our old versions. But we decided that looking at a grid type of thing was more pleasant if we can give them weight and movement and see what's going on. But anything on this scan is going to have a giant short float up here. MindMed being one of them. And I've been watching this one. Gosh, I was looking for a pullback, actually. I'm not getting one. Let's see. That's some decent consolidation. Your downside is 801. If it fails at 847, you've got a half a point, which is usually, like, I almost thought about dialing some up and buying some, but usually when I buy something with that much space between the current price, we got resistance, it could easily fall back down and try to regroup down here in the low eights. As much as I want to jump in, I haven't taken any new positions today. I'm just gonna hang out. But everything on this chart over here on this scan is going to be high short float, is what I was getting at. Hello, mirror. Let's see. And then anything on this scan are strong stocks, as you can see. Remember, I told you I like to buy on the pullback at the 10 SMA. Well, I'm utilizing a scan. And that's the power of trade ideas, is real-time updating. All right. I don't have to keep hitting send and submit, receive, reply, set. So as I go through these names, they're all going to be like strong stocks, but they're having a red day, but pulling back right to their 10 SMA. That's too shallow of a pullback for me. But this CRK, if this thing regathers itself, it can wick, put a nice reversal wick. And this is something to possibly keep an eye on, because markets are near all-time highs. And if you're a short seller in something that's short 35% at a market that's this strong, you're just asking for it. So that's my theory on the scan, is just kind of looking for trapped short sellers. And I would just go through, and that chart does nothing for me. It's in a downtrend. So far, that's the best looking. Sorry. Let me find it. Oh, actually, I was looking at the wrong scan. So far, this was the best looking one on the 10 period pullback. So let's see what the others look like. Yeah, that's too shallow for me. That's interesting. VST, this is part of that nano nuke. I actually like this. So this is my process I'm going through here with you guys, right? So what do I see? Okay, I'm just clicking through. These are all stocks that are uptrending and they're pulling back. Okay, so this is a beautiful flag pattern. And if I look at my intraday, I could look at this and say, if the short, there's no real shorts, this is just a strong stock and a strong trend. I'm starting to look at this here more in a more granular level, right? So I would say maybe an alert above 160 would be in order. So that's what I'm going to do. So here's the process. I'm just going to go up to 160, right click, set an alert. Now what I've done is I've given myself a future opportunity to maybe play a stock that's doing a beautiful bull flag that happens to be in a very strong sector. Which sector is that, you ask? It's the nanonuclear, the SMRs. Look at that chart. The OCLOs, the BWXT. Which is it this week? I can't remember because I didn't buy it. Give me a sec. It's on this list. The star. God, this chart looks just like. See how I've done the same thing over here? Well, that is the one, isn't it? Okay. So, unbeknownst to me, I literally wrote this yesterday, and as I said, it's the trade of the week. I'm not in it because I'm not focused on it, but this is kind of how I go about finding things. As we can see, it did open above 160, and then it gapped back down. So we really needed to hold that 10 SMA. But again, I'm not participating. It was just an idea. All right, the Qs are hitting highs. I noticed that as we speak. Let's check in on my Bam Margera. Biomerica. Still not seeing any news on this one. Nope. I even checked X Twitter, and nothing was going on over there. I've got an order standing to sell at $49.99. Oops, $49.99. Almost knocked the mic out of my hand. Here's another one I'm watching. I didn't discuss this one. I'm long this one. This is just like Rumble. I'm willing to sit through a pullback. I've had a wonderful move. Now, Kodak. Why the hell is Steve in Kodak? Well, there's a reason. It's the new administration. And what you've got is a company here that's extremely solid fundamentally. And I think they're literally waiting for instructions from this new administration. They're saying, what do you want us to make? Because we know that 4 years ago during the pandemic or whatever you want to call that crap, we couldn't find penicillin, we couldn't find chlorine, we couldn't find hydroxy, we couldn't find the basic generic items that Kodak going forward could produce for us domestically. And we don't have to have that angst of how are we going to source this stuff when other countries are the only ones making it and we can't get it. So that we put ourselves in a very difficult predicament, and we got ourselves out of it, hopefully, knock on wood. But that's the story with Kodak, and the price is confirming the story with the new administration. So there's a story brewing here, and I really think that the price is it's just waiting for a headline. We could wake up any day and see Kodak just got a contract to manufacture whatever, and it's just going to probably set the stage for, I think, the new chapter in this company. So this is a company I'm not looking to sell. I'm looking to invest in this one. And I say that because there's another account that I don't have up right now, but I don't have any Kodak in. So I'm kind of watching this thing in another account, and I'm just going to load up when the price converges with the 10 SMA. That'll be my point at which I want to get invested in another account. So thought I'd share that with you. And then lastly, I'm in BBAI. The AI, trend has been solid. Just depends on what stock you're in. Sound, IONQ, PLTR. So I'm willing to really give this one some slippage. Let's see, I'm up in it, barely. So it's not really causing me any pain. What am I watching for? Well, just keep closing above the 10 SMA. That's all I care about. That's all I care about. See game going to lows without me. I let myself stop out of that very early at 2850 level, which is very comforting now that it's not in there. Great question. How to start trading day with trade ideas, scan, screen? Well, it's a loaded question. There's a lot to learn. There's a giant learning curve, but the first door you need to open and ask yourself is, what time frame do I want to play in? I'm sitting over here talking about swing trading because that's my time frame, sitting in things for days or a few days. Day trading, however, is a whole other animal, and there's a couple of things you can do. BMRA is one that I'm in. Barry uses a 5-minute chart. He's a day trader. I still use a 15-minute chart even when I'm day trading, because I've noticed that if price is moving in the right direction, it's going to stay above my 15-minute moving average here, which is 10 candles, that moving average. So here we just drew a new one there, 9:30, 12:30. So now I have a new data point that I'm watching here on the 15-minute chart. And this for me kind of is a day trade. I've got some offers sitting above. But you asked a loaded question. I mean, there's many ways in which you can start. Some people know what they want to scan for. I went through this scan over here. These are two different scans. This is looking for things that have a high percentage of short sellers in there. Every scan on here is going to have a lot of short sellers. but the chart might not necessarily be good. And that's a loaded question. How do you get good at reading charts? Well, it takes time to be able to just click through the 3 or 4 that I went through and say, well, actually, this one doesn't look too bad now, only because it's kind of breaking its downtrend and it's broken above all of its moving averages. And then midday, it's moving higher above its 10 SMA here. So on both time frames, the 15 and the daily, it's got something behind it. But more importantly, short sellers. Short sellers give us a lot of upside momentum if they get scared and they start covering and they want to buy to get out. I'm going to take you on another way to go here. How to start trading. Well, I think maybe one of the easiest ways to just get going, everything on here is something I've made custom, but you can go to new dock channel bar. What this does is this gives you the ability to have a new workspace inside of this container, and you can go to different channels. Now, pre-market is a very popular one because people start here in the morning and everything that's gapping up and showing incredible overnight strength is going to be on these scans. And so this is a great place to just kind of start your day. And, you can look at charts and say if you were to come in right now and say, well, SNTI looks pretty good, but if it breaks back above there, my work process is right click and create an alert, and that alert will trigger and then it'll tell me about it. So, that's why I said it's a loaded question. There's no one door to walk through. There's many doors that you can start getting accustomed to. But I would say the first thing you want to do is figure out what's your time frame. If you are okay with sitting in front of a screen all day, then a day trading is for you. But for me, I've got like multiple things going on, and I'll get up and go play golf sometimes if I can and manage things from my phone. I've got a much more open time frame and time horizon. So, that means smaller share size, but wider swings back and forth than a day trader. So that's really the first question you want to ask yourself. And I'll tell you this, the more that you hang out in these sessions, the faster you'll learn things. That's for sure. Because the learning curve is there. It's steep. And there's no one scan that you can just rely on and say, hey, I'm a newbie to trading, but as long as I got this little scan window telling me what to do, and if I just follow it, that doesn't exist. And I'll just be straight up with anybody who's hearing that right now. That does not exist. You've got to put all the pieces together, and we give you the pieces. You just got to figure out which ones you want to use. I just said, doing a few different things behind the scenes anyway. All right. The most active thing I really have on here is this BMRA. It's a small penny stock. I don't even know why the hell I'm in it. I'm literally just kind of feeling my way through it. And what I see is incredible volume. I don't know why that volume is so jacked. Yeah, incredible volume. And then also I can look at the relative volume right here very easily. If you're new again, K2, this is extremely important. That data point. That means 32. That means that based on our statistics in our database going back 3 months, BMRA at 12:35 Eastern is doing 32 times its normal volume. So that is one of the most key important indicators that you can look at. If you're trading in a stock and you're trying to cheer on a movement in a stock that's doing 0.5, you're just sitting in idle wind. There's nothing blowing. But in these high relative volume stocks, anything in that morning gapper pre-market that I showed you is going to have high relative volume because it's gapping up. It'll hold that relative volume throughout the day. So this thing has had a couple of runs and then pullbacks, but as long as it stays bid and above this curling up 10 SMA, I'm going to stay in this thing. Still a long day. I've got orders out there. And by the way, that's the kind of stock that you really want to make sure that you're ahead of. And so it'll just get crazy. And before you can even get your hands on the sell button, it's pulled back a nickel, which is a lot in a stock like this. So you've got to, like a pilot would do, is fly the plane, 3 miles downwind, upwind, I should say, and be ahead of the game. So I've already got my order in here at 49.49 to sell. And if it pops back up, I'm going to get hit. Hey, we're getting a little green pop there. So this BBAI, it's just it's what I have to look at that 10 SMA on the daily. We're right there. It's like the way the price action works with these algorithms running the price action. They aren't humans. Don't mistake that. Sorry, as I said, I've got more than one job than just trading. And as I'm speaking BBAI, again, I'm fully expecting it to, as the algorithms, as I was saying, run the market. They will have a funny way of like just wanting to go down and touch it, almost like it's built into. Great, I'm glad that's useful. Thank you. The algorithms, the way they trade, not like humans, is they literally trade like a formula. They need to get to their target. And when the target is achieved, if then they reverse greater than whatever the hell they write those things. So point being, I almost fully expect the price to just make a new low. But once it kisses that line, as you can see, it's done it already 3 days prior. It's exactly what this stock likes to do. Kiss, kiss, kiss. And we're so close right here. So I'm not telling anybody to buy anything, but when I tell people to be a contrarian, here's another very useful tip, K2, that I would give to a new trader. Do not be the one chasing the herd. Be the one going against the herd. Right now, the herd they're all running from something here. They're all selling. But if you look at the bigger picture, we've seen the last 3 days a pattern develop where the low of the candle is basically the touch of the 10-day moving average. So being a contrarian is being not afraid to jump in there and say, buy. I'll take it right here. And if that doesn't work, there's probably a few people where this resonates with. You, the person that did chase the green candle, and you're watching it and you just can't take it anymore. One more red tick and you're out. Blah, you're out. You're done. Just get it off my screen. And then 2 days, 3 days later, you look back and you go, I wonder who the person was I just sold that to. Well, there's no reason that person can't be you. And getting yourself to be a contrarian. Matter of fact, I'm going to be contrarian right now. I'm going to add to the position, just because. Why not? I don't have a problem adding to the position right there because it's right at the spot. There we go. I think we got that touch. Look at how this thing trades. These are algorithms. These are machines trading. And let me just say this. When people come in and they want 10-second candles and 30-second charts and I'm fast. I'm a fast trader. No, you're not. You're not faster than the machines. These things trade on lasers next to the damn exchange in New York. Nobody's faster than the hundreds of millions of dollars that Citadel and these algorithms have invested to run the markets. And by doing so, they've given themselves a nice technological edge, which is speed. So if you think you're going to come into the market and your edge is going to be speed, please don't go down that road either. That's one of the reasons that I just let the noise shake out, which is what I just did. Oh, you want to go to Lowe's and touch that? Okay, I'll buy another chunk. And an hour from now, it might seem like a prudent move, but in the moment, that's the hardest part, is pulling that trigger in the moment and having a reason to pull the trigger when you see red candles and say, I've got to be contrarian here. And I have to have a reason in the bigger picture, on which is the daily chart. Now, if this thing rolls over and goes to $2 on me and closes like this, I'm not taking it home overnight. Which brings up another swing trading rule of mine. I'm going to wait until the close. If I don't set a stop during the day, I'm going to wait for the close to manually evaluate my portfolio and see which one weeds and might need to be plucked. Oops. Let's start with the bigger picture. NASDAQ still wants to go to highs. There's just money being put to work. It's just a matter of who gets it on what day. Big recovery there. There's Kodak holding up. So Kodak sees my 5-day moving average. It didn't like it here. It got too close and bounced it higher. Maybe that was the low there, and maybe we get one more day of sideways action. Who knows? But this is a big indicator for me. And if anybody wants it, I'm not speaking to anybody in particular, save and share. I can share this 15-minute chart setting with just 2 indicators. And the beauty of it is the simplicity. 2 indicators. Sometimes they converge, sometimes they cross, sometimes they paint the price into a corner, and you just wait and watch and see what the resolution is. And that, helps you decide where to go next. Stay in or cut your losses or manage your risk, whatever. Can't get that. I'm going to delete that alert and set a new one. There we go. I'll do that a lot. I'll just right click and set a price alert at prior highs, just so I know I can alert myself. The nano nuke stocks, they were strong for a good couple months, but they're starting to wear out a little bit. I was doing a lot of trading around, and eventually these solid trends will give way, and I'm going to stay away from them. I was doing a lot of trading in the NNEs and the SMRs, but I noticed last week the sellers weren't really letting them close on highs. Anyway, so the point being, there's always a hot sector. I'm kind of hoping that next sector is AI again. This BBAI, as we were kind of trying to work through, that I just added to. Good. I was afraid to chase. Hello. Hello, Color. I wanted to ask if the mining machine has the option to be tested using the biggest gainers stock race instead of change. Yes, that you will have that opportunity when it's released to the public. We're going to do internal testing first, but I mean, here's the idea. As you can see, I can change these. I've got 2 different tree maps. I can turn this one into a race if I wanted to. And we can turn that race, into whatever we want. So the answer to your question is whoa, you just hit me with a book. Okay, give me a second. The answer is, as long as we have the filter that you can make a column out of, that you can sort by, As long as you can sort by, a race or a tree map, that's what the mining machine is going to be based on. So the answer will be yes. I mean, that's what we're going to be testing and experimenting, like what works best, 30-minute change from open, change from close. And then when we release it to the public, for your own testing in sim mode, that'll be coming first. You'll be able to test all of these things as well. A stock race, if you're going to use the money machine on top of a stock race, it's always going to just use the top three. It's never going to get you in more. And if something's volatile, we're working on some parameters that try to keep the volatility down. So the answer to your main question is yes, you will be able to test those things before going live, as long as it's a filter that we have that you can sort by, because that's all we're really doing, right? Is using the races. We're just using one of those filters to kind of show us that sort, which one is the most active in that particular filter set. And we're building on top of that the idea of, hey, well, maybe we can automate always being in the best three of these scans, but it's not that simple because you'd be in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. We're building some guardrails. We're building some risk parameters that keep the volatility and the churn down to a reasonable pace. So I realize you hit copy and paste a couple of times. It was a duplicate. So hopefully I answered your question, Khalid. Bitcoin just got near 100 back here and just retreated. But if we look at it, there's 100. We're getting kind of a cup and handle, aren't we? Perhaps. We'll see. Yeah, correct. Commission-free broker. So, Khalid, I will plant the seed with you now. Alpaca is a broker that has 0 API fees, and we're closely working with them, and they would be the most ideal. If you're just intent on using Interactive Brokerage and you don't care about the fees or the commissions, then there'll be a small fee for the API, just like there currently is for Interactive Brokers. Thing is not working. Well, still holding above. Just, I want that to stay green. I want price to stay above that. Well, it's the same concept, Khalid, whether it's a stock race or a tree map. So you're just seeing the same scan in two different versions. So I'm running this based on, but yes, my understanding is you will be able to use a race, but it's the same thing as a tree map, because if I turn the tree map off, I'm sorting by change from the close. So I could add a column here that says, well, let's just do that. I'll just show you how we would do that. Configure. I want to know what's the change in 30-minute. Oops. 30-minute change in 30-minute percent. Okay, here's our filter. We're going to add that column. Okay. Now we've got change in 30 minutes. I'm going to do double click. Now I've double clicked. Now we're sorting by change in 30 minutes. I can launch a stock race based on that, or I can go to tree map based on that. Both are going to show you the same thing. So ACHR, CLDI, and FCEL would be leading the stock race, but you're seeing them as a tree map. So you're always going to be in the top three. I think you're overthinking the stock race. The good news is you will be able to test it when it comes out, and we'll all find out and see how it works together. Fair point. It doesn't reset every 10 minutes or run races like that. So I don't know why you would want to run. That's kind of what I was getting at. I don't know why you want to run it on a stock race, because you do have that reset factor. So if the money machine is going to be run on a stock race, then that is probably going to be by default, 1 hour or 2 hour timeframes. It's not going to be 5 minute timeframes, because that'll be just too noisy. I understand your point. The idea is we always want to be in the top three that are moving forward in real time. So I'm not real privy to every decision that they're making in the dark on this. I just know that it's going to be released internally. But yeah, I get your point. Stock races will reset and start over. And if that's the case, if that conflicts with the money machine concept, then the developers will probably sort that out. I actually don't like that setting. I'm going to take that out. Go back to change from open. Change from close. Tree map. All right. Okay, let's see. I'll be here another 5 minutes or so, then I got to run. Sorry if you were expecting Michael today. It's going to be one of us on Mondays now. Anybody has a chart they want me to look at? We got time for that, or no problem, Khalid. I want people to come. We want people to come to this session because we understand this is a very rich product. There's many things you can do with it, many different directions, whether you're brand new or you know exactly what you want with a custom formula. And it's really hard. You can't do it over the phone. It's hard to do over chat sometimes. It's hard to just keep dropping you links to documentations or videos. This is the only place where we can come and have a conversation and clarify and get down to the exact question that you need, and let us show you visually, or maybe show you something you hadn't thought of. And we want that to be available as much as possible. Now, our support is getting a little thin. We're still doing it Monday through Friday, and that's our intent, is to keep the 12 Eastern hour open. So a user of Trade Ideas always has a 24-hour window to write down some questions or come in and get this type of interaction. So I would much rather have questions coming at me than just trying to figure out what I should be talking about. Oh, now you guys hit me. I haven't found any news on BMRA. I looked on Twitter. I also looked on here, but X is where you really want to go. I don't see anything. What I was saying earlier, Applock, is the price is probably preceding something coming. I don't know. ZWS long and still holding. That's good to know. Looks solid. Looks great. You've reclaimed your intraday 5-day average there. Your daily looks like a really nice cup and handle. Just all systems are go here on this one. No real short float. The 20 day is coming up for support. You got some real solid support in this one. If it was me, I'd be staying in this thing until the first candle closes below either the 10 or the 20 SMA, because then you've got all that space down here. I really like to use the closing price for moving averages in a trend like that. Is there a way to backtest Holly strategies? No, because we don't have access to them. I could take any one of my alerts, which I don't have here. These are just high lows, but any alert window, actually I could backtest. I could make that an alert first, then backtest it. But the backtesting is done to prove or unprove your own theories or concepts. I saw somebody, BMRA just fell out of bed, didn't it? Yes, it did. Okay, so what we need here is that wick to pop back up and have this be like the worst of it. If not, it's just going to do the same thing it did on Friday, which is a whole lot of nothing. Maybe it's waiting for a headline. There's no reason for me to get out. All right, Patrick, the SMR companies seem, yeah, you probably heard me say that. The price action is just feeling tired. They were just a juggernaut for 3 solid months. And things change. Things don't always work out forever. Before I go, guys, here's a perfect example of what we're talking about. SMR. This is where that 5-day moving average needs to tell you the buyers are still interested in this thing. Well, you've got the pinch play. There's the 10 SMA. This is why I shared my chart with you. And you've got the price breaking below 1, 2, a full 4 candles, a full hour. Bleeding is a good word I'm going to use. Bleeding below this. This just tells me the buyers are not interested. They're just, the euphoria is not as it was up here as it was down here. So I'm not interested in that group anymore. And this, that's one of the hardest things to learn, is to step away from what was once working. Imagine you're a seagull and you keep going to the same McDonald's and there's fries in the same big trash can every single time. You're like, this is it. I'm set for life. And then all of a sudden, the trash can's gone. They moved it. But you keep showing up waiting for those French fries. You gotta move on. You gotta find a new strategy. So that happens all the time. And the sooner you as a trader can identify that what was once working is no longer working, the better off you're going to be. Because I saw a lot of traders make a lot of money in the bull market of the late 90s, only to give their millions of dollars back after 2001 because they couldn't figure out how to trade a bear market. And that was one of the biggest lessons I ever watched somebody else make. No, there's no way to look under the hood, Sergio, to see what the filters are. See, I could go in here and I can show you all this, but we can't see this in any of the Holly strategies. All you really have is a description and the name and kind of a basic concept, long or short, buying momentum or, fading momentum, whatnot. So, oh man, I'm all talked out, you guys. So I'm going to sign off on this session. Good questions. I think Chris will be here tomorrow, and we will see you guys in the next 24 hours. So take it easy. I'm going to end the live stream. Bye-bye.